are the champion, the one that holds the line and finishes the mission. Everything that you want is within your grasp. You wake up in the morning ready to dominate the day, and every step taken is with purpose and integrity, because you were not put on this planet to live a mediocre existence. You are here to conquer and make the biggest impact possible, not only for yourself, but for your family and for your tribe. This world is a battlefield, and we will be victorious. This is the Norse Mentality.
What's up, guys? I hope that you are having a glorious day. Today, me and Cowboy Cody here are going to talk about why you should not rely on motivation. And this is such an important episode because we are constantly getting asked, how can I find the motivation to work out? How do I find motivation to work towards my goal? The whole issue here is that you are relying on motivation to take action when you don't fucking need it. This is what people don't understand. You do not need motivation to get shit done. The issue here is that it has become a crutch in today's society, that we think that we have to be motivated in order to do something. Well, I just don't feel like doing it, so that means I shouldn't. No, you just need to fucking do it.
I think that thought process is very mainstream. I'll wait to do this until, it's the right time. I'm 100% motivated to do this.
Well, that's what I mean. It has become a crutch. It's almost a cliche now. But what's worse about this is that it is socially acceptable. It's socially acceptable for people not to get shit done that they need to for their family, for themselves, for their community, for their job, whatever it is. It's socially acceptable now for people not to do it because they are not motivated. When in reality, you just need to do it. If you have work to do, you just need to go do the goddamn work. But I also understand where this comes from because I've been there myself. And I think anyone that has started going to the gym at some point in their life, which if you're listening to this podcast, is probably you, depending on the time frame, of course. But at some point, when you start working out, you're really hyped up. You're super motivated to start working out. That's what got you into the gym in the first place. But over time, that motivation goes away. And that's where people either drop off or they keep pushing through. And when they keep pushing through, they're developing discipline and they're developing productive habits. And that right there is what you need to rely on. And we're going to get to how to develop that later on in this episode. But the main thing here is acknowledging the fact that just because you don't feel like doing something, you're still going to do it anyways because that's who you are. You don't rely on this one little thing in order to get shit done, in order to work towards your goals, in order to improve your quality of life. And we also have two different types of motivation here. You have external motivation. What's a good example of external motivation?
Just, maybe scrolling through social media, seeing somebody hit a PR you might follow, you might respect online.
Someone juicy. Yeah, you also want to be juicy.
Some instant gratification. Maybe you posted a picture on social media and it's just got a bunch of likes, That's pretty externally motivating to you.
Absolutely. So those are great examples. Internal motivation would be when you just wake up and you're like, I'm fucking ready to go. Or you're at work and you're like, I cannot wait to get off work so I can go hit the gym. I am so ready for this shit. And sometimes that happens, and that's an amazing feeling. But what that is a result of dopamine. Dopamine is what is the chemical for motivation. And the issue here is that we live in a society that is constantly depleting us of dopamine, either if it's with caffeine, coffee, energy drinks, whatever it is, cigarettes, nicotine in general, social media.
I think social media is
TV.
A huge one.
Well, social media is definitely what's draining people of dopamine because
absolutely.
We constantly pull out, I think the average is people pull their phones out 175 times a day to check social media.
That's wild.
But think about it, man. How often do we just, if we have any downtime now, we just pull it out? And also, I just pulled that number out of my ass. That might be exaggerated, but either way, it's a lot of fucking times. It is over 100. I don't need someone coming at me and be like, that is not correct. You know what? I don't fucking
Regardless,
care. I'm
24 hours in a day, 100 times, that's 4 times an hour.
Right, and
every 15
time,
minutes.
Every single, or even text messages though. When you get a text message from someone, you are depleting yourself of dopamine. That's just a little bit of dopamine getting taken away. Okay, now combine all of these things. TV, text messages, phone calls. When someone calls you, you get a release of dopamine because that means someone cares about you. Whenever you get a like on social media, that's a release of dopamine. Whenever you drink coffee, that's a release of dopamine. If you smoke, which hopefully you don't, This is 2022. You shouldn't be smoking anymore. But like me and you, we both do the nicotine pouches.
Yeah.
We probably shouldn't, but we do it because it's a cognitive enhancer. Well, that's at least the bullshit that we're telling ourselves. But either way, every time that we do that, we're depleting ourselves a little bit of dopamine. All of these, and when you compound these over time.
Every day. Yeah.
Every day, right.
It's a good
Throughout
point.
every single day, you're combining all of these different things. So yeah, maybe you only get a couple text messages a day. Well, how many times are you checking social media? How many hours are you watching TV? How much coffee are you drinking? How many pleasure foods are you eating? Are you eating foods with a lot of sugar in them? Are you eating foods that just taste absolutely amazing? Are you eating a bunch of pizza, candy? Whatever it is, anything that releases pleasure releases dopamine. But that's where dopamine comes into hand with motivation. Whenever we we feel pleasure from things that motivate us. Or I guess maybe vice versa, whatever. You get the idea. So if we have motivation to take action from like an evolutionary standpoint, this is where motivation and dopamine play hand in hand. If you're motivated to go out and hunt, then you survive. If you're motivated to take care of your family, you survive. It's everything in our DNA is a product of survival. That's all it is. So everything that comes with dopamine and motivation, all that stuff, thousands of years ago, you only got to release a dopamine from those things. And over time, mankind has figured out how to tweak those and use it to our advantage, where now we live in a world that is just completely pleasure-filled, where a few hundred years ago, it was not like that at all.
No, that's just how it was.
Yeah, you got a dopamine release from like killing a goddamn bear or some shit like that. And now we get it through scrolling through social media. Like, let's just take a second to acknowledge that. Our ancestors, not that long ago, got a just giant release of dopamine from fighting with a neighboring tribe or killing a bear or doing something that was actually worth the fuck.
Because they had to do
Because they had to for their survival. And that's because I'm obsessed with this idea of dopamine. It's a product of different things, mostly Andrew Huberman. I'm obsessed with the Huberman podcast. I've read multiple books about this as well, because if you can learn how to manage your dopamine, you get more shit done and you just have a better quality of life. That's also why people are so depressed nowadays, is because we're constantly depleting ourselves of dopamine because we think that we always need to be comfortable. And that's how dopamine works as well, is pain and dopamine balance each other out. But the issue here is that we never experience any discomfort, pain, and we're always experiencing comfort and pleasure. So our dopamine's always up here and our pain is down here. But that's why taking an ice bath actually does both. So if you take an ice bath, I think it increases dopamine by like 300% or some shit like that. Right. That's one of the huge benefits of taking cold showers and taking an ice bath and stuff, is it has this giant release of dopamine, but it doesn't deplete you of it. It balances it back out because you're also experiencing discomfort at the same time. So if you can learn how to manage your dopamine production, you are going to have more motivation. But once again, that takes a lot of damn effort. And you pretty much have to go into straight monk mode in order to manage that. So what is a better plan of attack here? How do we continue to work towards our goals? How do we continue to crush it in the gym and all these other aspects of life without relying on dopamine? Because we don't have control over it. We can't just snap our fingers and say, I feel like being fucking motivated right now. That's not how this works. And if you don't have control over it, then you cannot rely on it. But what you can do is build discipline, and you can build productive habits that become part of your identity. And what I mean by discipline is, okay, I'm the type of person that when work needs to get done, I fucking work. I put in the work, I get this shit done, and I move on to the next task, because that's what kind of person I am. When you develop that type of discipline, you don't fucking need motivation anymore. Fuck motivation. Am I motivated? Cool, yeah. But motivation is a byproduct of taking action and seeing results as well. Well, if you have discipline to drag yourself into the gym and start working out when you don't feel like it, which happens to everybody, I would say at least 70% of the time, I don't feel like working out, especially after I get done working all day.
Nah, dude, I'm fucking tired.
You're tired, man. But the thing is here is that you've developed the discipline to work out 3 to 4 days a week, maybe 5 days, whatever it is. You've also developed those habits. That is now part of your identity. And the way that you do that is by just putting in the reps. Okay, I don't feel like going to the gym. I'm not motivated to go to the gym. Well, I don't care. I'm still going to go to the gym because this is what I need to do. This is who I am. I'm someone that works out 3 to 4 days a week. No exceptions. This is what I do. And when you force yourself to do that over time, you're building that discipline. That becomes part of your identity. And once it becomes part of your identity, that's all you need. You no longer think twice about this kind of shit. You don't need motivation and external factors in order to do things. You just do them. But that's how you develop discipline, is by just putting in the work, even if you don't feel like it. And you do that every day over time. And then eventually it just becomes second nature, because as you're putting in those reps, you're putting in the productive habits into place. And the more that you do that over time, it usually takes, I think, 60 to 90 days to fully develop a habit, right? So if you can do this for 60 to 90 days, this is just who you are now. You don't need motivation. So how do we apply this to our daily life? Going to the gym. Okay. I need to go to the gym every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Without exception, I'm going to the gym. I don't give a shit if I feel motivated or not. I'm going to make myself do this. I don't give a shit if you even go in there and you just go through the motions. You're still showing up. You're still putting in some work. That's better than nothing.
Yeah, don't expect to walk into the gym and have a 2 hour. Well, you shouldn't be in the gym for more than 2 hours anyway. But don't expect to go in there and just hammer it out every day for 2 hours. You're setting yourself up for failure, because realistically, you're never going to be 100% every day. And I think a lot of people get into that mindset when they start working out. Oh, well, I'm through this phase of getting it started. Every day is just going to be absolutely dialed in on the dot. My nutrition, your sleep, you can dial your nutrition, you can dial your sleep in, you can dial everything in you want to, and you're still going to show up to the gym and feel like dog shit.
It happens.
The majority of the time.
It just happens. But once you develop that discipline, you've developed that habit of working out, it's just what you do. But that's how you develop it. You set a goal. I'm going to work out 3 to 4 days a week. This is what I'm going to do. I don't care if I feel like it. I'm going to go and I'm going to do it. But what I've noticed, and I'm pretty sure it's like this for you and everybody else, once you drag yourself in there, within about 10 to 15 minutes, you're rolling. Like, you feel good. You're getting these chemical releases in your body and stuff like that. And you're taking action though. So now you're motivated to continue doing the workout. You're seeing results. You got a gnarly pump. Cool. My shoulders are popping right now. Sick. Well, now I'm motivated. Where did that come from? Taking action. Why did I take action? Because I'm disciplined. Well, how did I become disciplined? Because I've made this a habit of just doing it. So see how this all comes full circle. So motivation is not the first stepping stone that people think it is. They think that they can't do anything because they're not motivated. And that's not the case. Motivation comes after taking action.
You still have to make the conscious decision to make your pre-workout, make your meal, eat, get in your car, drive to the gym, get out of your car, go into the gym, and start your workout.
Well, let's acknowledge those right there, because those are all great points. Every one of those steps that you just pointed out, which are a lot, that's a lot of steps that you have to take just to get to the damn gym. And then you still have to work out, right? Well, each one of those steps is a victory. Acknowledge those victories. I just put my damn shoes on. Cool. That's a victory. I know that sounds silly, but acknowledge this shit. I'm now driving to the gym. Cool. That's another victory. I'm at the damn gym. That's a victory. I'm working out now. That's a victory. You get done. I dragged myself into the gym when I did not feel like doing it. I forced myself to work out, and now I feel great because I overcame myself. I overcame this weak fucking bitch inside of me, and I still put in the work. There's no way that you do not feel absolutely amazing after doing that. But the only way that you really feel that is by acknowledging your victories. But each one of those is you stacking victories. That's something we're always talking about, stacking victories one after another. When you wake up in the morning and you don't feel like getting anything done, you just start doing small things. And if you can make that a habit every day, where, okay, I'm going to use myself as a personal example here. Wake up around 4:45, 5 o'clock. Okay, cool. If I get up before 5 o'clock, that's a victory. Awesome. Well, now I'm going to meditate. That's another victory. After I get done with meditation, I'm going to do some breath work and jump in the ice bath. Those are 2 victories right there. Well, now I'm also going to knock out 20 minutes of reading. I just stacked 5 victories before 6 o'clock. And guess what? That's setting the momentum for the day. I'm going to continue stacking victories until my fucking head hits the pillow that night. And if you can make that part of your identity where every day, every morning, you wake up, you start stacking victories, that becomes who you are. I don't need to be motivated to meditate. I just sit down and I do it. It used to not be that way though. It's just like anything else. Like everything I'm talking about here, I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm just like a fucking rare exception here and I don't need motivation. No, I used to be this exact same way. Oh, I don't feel like working, so I'm not going to work. I don't feel like going to the gym, so I'm not going to go to the gym. And finally, I got tired of my own bullshit. And I said, no, you need to fucking do this because you're capable of achieving more. This is the kind of self-talk that I had to develop for myself. And it's like a conversation inside your head, dude. I'm sure you can say the same thing.
Every fucking day, man. All the time. It's continuously.
I don't feel like getting out of bed. And then this other voice pops in. Well, you need to, man. You got work to do. You're better than this. I don't feel like going to the gym. Well, that sucks because we're going to go to the gym because we love ourselves enough to do this. We're going to show up and we're going to do it because this is what kind of person we are. We're not someone that just skips the gym. We're not someone that eats like shit all the time. Every once in a while, maybe. But 80% of the time, at least, we're eating healthy because we love ourselves enough to do that.
I think motivation, whether internal or external, you're creating a very unstable baseline for yourself.
Oh, it's all over the fucking place, dude.
Yeah, so you're roller coastering, and that's your baseline. But if you take the time, which if you're not using time as a measure of your own currency, you don't really respect yourself. If you don't take the time to put in the effort and create these habits to create a more stable baseline for yourself, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Right, because you're only relying on this bullshit motivation.
Right.
That's exactly it. And here's the thing. Everyone can develop these productive habits. Everyone can become more disciplined. Maybe you're not right now. I don't think there's anyone that just comes out of the womb fully disciplined. Maybe Jocko, but that's about it.
Maybe like a couple people per decade.
Right. Like this is not, no one has this naturally. It's a product of their upbringing if they're lucky. If they're lucky enough to have parents that were disciplined and they pass those traits down to them through their actions, then you're cool. Like you're lucky there. But most people did not have that luxury. Most people had shitty childhoods and they had parents with shitty work ethics or whatever else. Well, that doesn't define who you are as a person. You are not them. You can develop discipline. You can develop these productive habits. How do I make more money? Study people that make a fucking bunch of money and start doing what they do. And you do that enough, and guess what? That's who you are now. I want to be someone that just goes to the gym. You just start going to the gym, and you do that long enough where that's just who you are now. You can do that with everything. But it's also like you need to make that decision for yourself. Do you want this enough for yourself? Are you going to use some bullshit excuse like I'm not motivated to take action? Or are you just going to take action because you love yourself enough, you love your family enough to do this for you and for them and for your friends? This is why surrounding yourself with such solid people is so beneficial. I know that if I don't show up like I need to, you're going to call me out on it. And I'm going to do the exact same thing to you. That's how it is with everyone in the compound. If there's anyone over there that's part of the core group, which is a good amount of people, 50 to 100, if they go long enough without seeing them, they're going to start getting roasted. Where are you at? Why haven't you been to the gym? Well, I just haven't felt like it. Well, that's about a bitch excuse if I've ever heard one. And guess what? They're going to come back to the gym or they're going to fall off. And if they fall off, we don't want you around anyways. But that's why you need to surround yourself with the best possible people because they hold you accountable. You don't want to let them down. I don't want to let down my friends. I don't want to let down my girlfriend. I don't want to let down my daughter. I don't want to let my dad down. Like these are all people that I care about. And if I don't show up as the best version of myself and I only rely on motivation to take action, then I'm only going to be taking action about 10% of the time. So if you don't care about yourself enough to do it, think about those around you. Think about how you owe it for them. I need to be healthy. That way I live as long as possible. That way I have energy to play with my kids. That way me and my friends can have awesome workouts together.
Go on some gnarly hikes together.
Go on gnarly hikes together,
That's our
man.
favorite thing to do.
Right, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if I was just like, I just stopped working out in general and I let myself become just this fucking fat slob, and you asked me to go hiking. I was like, honestly, man, no, like I just not really feeling it, man. My cardio's been kind of down lately.
If that's what your friend group does and that's what you do, you're going to get left behind.
You're not going to be in my friend group.
Right.
And I hope that doesn't sound harsh.
No, and it's not coming from a negative
it's really
place.
not like.
No, I promise.
But this is what I want people to realize, though. Like, who you surround yourself with is so beneficial for this reason alone. Accountability. You do not want to let them down. That's in our DNA. Because if we did not show up as the best version of ourselves 1,000 years ago, we got kicked out of the fucking tribe because we're holding them down. Back when like survival was actually our utmost important aspect of life, like everyone had to pull their weight in order to survive. No one relied on motivation to get shit done. You did it because if not, you died. Maybe that's how people should look at it. If I don't do this, I'm going to die, because it's kind of fucking true. If I don't go to the gym, I'm going to die sooner. If I don't eat the right foods, I'm going to die sooner. If I don't get my cardio in, I'm going to die sooner. If I don't put in the work to make money, I'm not going to have as many resources available to survive. I'm not going to be able to buy the quality food that I want. I'm not going to be able to go. I'm not going to have money for a gym membership.
You're not going to have money for doctor's appointments and visits and wellness checkups and
everything.
Yeah, it literally comes full circle.
So it all comes full circle. So maybe that's the mind. At this point, I'm just throwing things out there. I'm just trying to like throw as many tools out there as I can for people to hopefully that one of these things click for you.
One of the biggest things that I've done recently, it's definitely rooted in like being a better person for my sister, being a better person for my friend group. Because like you said, if I grow, my friend group grows. If my friend group grows, I grow. It's a very beneficial relationship there. But one of the things that stuck it the best for me was I'm doing it for my future self.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever I'm doing today, whatever I'm doing this week, whatever I'm doing this month, whatever I'm doing is setting that future me up for success.
Absolutely.
And putting that future me in such a better position than I am right now. Even though the position I'm in right now is wonderful. But that person, everything I'm doing now, that person's going to benefit from.
That's the best way to look at it. 100%. The issue is that most people don't have enough respect for themselves to look at it that way.
And I would say most people are so fucking busy, man, on a day-to-day like hustle and bustle of their life to make ends meet. They don't get the time to see that.
Yeah. They don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Well, they also look at it from a different perspective. Oh, I need to make as much money as possible for my future self. But I'm very unhappy with my life, so I just end up spending all this money that I'm making anyways. I'm not going to the gym, so I feel like shit, which means my work output is not what it could be. I'm eating like shit. I'm drinking too much. I'm doing all of this different stuff, but at least I'm making some money. No, get this other shit in check first. And then that's what allows you, like, if you can do that and you can take the time to just like check in with yourself. Am I stacking victories? And if you're not, like, start coming up with a plan of attack. Start taking action on these things that you need to do to better your life for your future self. Because every second that you're not taking action on something, you're going to be further behind later on down the road. And that's what's crazy to think about. It's every second of the day.
Respect yourself enough to not waste your time. That is the most important aspect that you have.
Absolutely. That is. You need to respect yourself. You need to. And if you respect yourself enough, you're going to do these things that you need to do regardless of motivation. And if you don't respect yourself enough yet, find out why that is. Do some internal self-reflection. Go see a therapist if you need to. I know men don't like hearing that, but you need to do whatever you need to do in order to become the best version of yourself. If that means going to therapy, throw your fucking ego out the window and go see a therapist. If you need to talk to your bros, go talk to them. If you need to call up your parents, call your parents. The only thing that makes you weak is not taking action to become the best version of yourself. That is weakness. And when you look at it from that perspective, you have no excuse. I'm speaking to this from like a man's perspective because I know a lot of men that consider this kind of shit weak. And that's what's mind-blowing to me is that in our society, that's how it is. Oh, it's weak if you talk about your emotions. It's weak if you go to a therapist. It's weak if you do this. It's weak if you read self-help books.
Bro, I cry on a weekly basis.
Sometimes you got to.
Yeah, bro.
Who the fuck cares?
Sometimes multiple days
you
in a
just
row.
gotta let it out.
You know?
Like that doesn't.
It doesn't,
That's the thing.
That
You
doesn't
release
make
that,
me less of a man.
You release these things, you feel better, and you're moving forward. So whatever you need to do to acquire this self-love, to acquire this respect for yourself in order to work towards your goals, to become a healthier version of yourself, to take care of your family, whatever you need to do to gather that respect, you need to do it. Because motivation is not what you need to rely on. You need to have enough self-love for yourself to develop these habits and discipline, to just put in the work no matter what, because you deserve it. You're worthy of whatever life that you want. You choose that though. You either want the best for yourself or you settle for this mediocre bullshit that you have right now. But if you're listening to this podcast right now, the fucking mediocrity line is not an option.
No chance.
Plain and simple.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Norse Mentality. This podcast is a byproduct of Norse Fitness. We make clothing, fitness accessories, supplements, and other tools to help you reach your true potential. You can check it out at norsefitness.co. And if you found this episode beneficial, please share it with a friend. That way we can continue to make a bigger impact and change the world. Thank you for your support, and we'll talk to you soon.